Hello. Today we're talking about our current topic is consonant clusters, diphthongs, and the schwa. Before we begin, just a quick reminder. Sometimes the spelling and letter combinations do not match, and not sometimes, oftentimes, the spelling does not match the phonemes that we're producing. So remember, what we're talking about here is within the context of phonetics and phonology. So first, the consonant cluster. As the name suggests, a consonant cluster is a group of consonants that occur together in a word. So instead of a T, for example, we have an S. The location of the cluster within the word can be initial, meaning at the beginning. It can be central or in the middle, or it can be final at the end of the word. Some examples are play. In the word play, we have a cluster consisting of the consonants P and L, play. Another example, sister. Here in the middle, we have st, sister. Task. Here at the end, we have sk, task. When the consonant cluster occurs at the beginning of a word, the only possible combinations are 2 to 3 consonants, no more than that. Some examples of clusters with 2 consonants at the beginning of the word could be blue, the color blue. We have b, blue. Another example, close, close. And lastly, true. We have true. Now, some examples for clusters of 3 consonants at the beginning of the word could be scrap, for example. And this combination will be first the consonant S followed by a stop, and then lastly a glide or a liquid. So when we say scrap, here at the beginning we have 3 consonants, S, scrap. So we have the S, we have the K, which is a stop, and lastly we have the which is a glide in English. Some other examples are strain, strain, or splash, splash, splash. Now, when the consonant cluster is at the end of the word, it could be longer. We can have up to 4 consonants in a final cluster. In this instance, many cases occur because of the modification of a word. And by modification, I mean the use of allomorphs, such as this example we have here, waltzed, which is the simple past of the verb to waltz. And in this one, we have 4 consonants, st, waltzed. Another example of a final cluster would be text. In the word text, the spelling at the end is X, T. We have 2 letters, 2 consonant letters. However, in the phonemes, when we consider the phonemes, we have 3 because we have the sounds k, st, k, st, text. Okay, when we're talking about consonant clusters, we need to keep in mind this concept. Resyllabification means that to make pronunciation easier, it is very common to divide the cluster and combine the last consonant in the word in the consonant cluster at the end of the word with the beginning of the next, if there's a vowel. For example, Sex and the City. Here we can see the phonetic transcription of the word sex, while the spelling only has the letter consonant X. In the phonemic transcription, we can see that we have two consonants here, K and S, sex, which means this is a consonant cluster of two phonemes. And what happens here is, instead of saying Sex and the City, usually what happens is that the S is combined with our schwa here. So it would not be Sex and the City, rather Sex and the City. Diphthongs. Diphthongs can be described in different ways depending on the author or the school of whoever is discussing the topic, right? So I have both definitions here, so we can have a clear idea on what diphthongs are and what people say about them. First, a diphthong can be described as a monosyllabic vowel which has different and very distinct start and end points. In other words, it's a vowel which begins in one configuration and ends in another. In this first definition, we're talking about a diphthong as if it's one sound, one phoneme. The other definition says that a diphthong is a combination of two vowels within the same syllable, in which there's a glide from one to the other. And this happens by changing the position of the tongue and or the rounding of the lips. Some examples: play. We saw that example with the consonant clusters earlier, but here we also have a diphthong. Play. Another example is toy, crow, sky. See how it's one sound, but it changes. There is a glide from one position to the other. Okay, so to sum up, a diphthong is a vowel sound that involves movement of the tongue from one position to another. And the position of the lips or the rounding of the lips is also involved in this process. Nearly all dialects in English include three major diphthongs, which are I, ow, and oi. However, there are more. Okay, but these three are called the major diphthongs because they involve large movements of the tongue. Diphthongs, as we said, require a glide. So one sound or one position and you glide into the other. Such that we can divide or classify diphthongs depending on how they change from more closed to more open or vice versa. For example, we have closing diphthongs where the position or the configuration is more open and then it changes to closed. And we have centering diphthongs where from more closed, we reach a more center configuration. Lastly, the schwa. And what is the schwa? The schwa is a vowel sound that occurs whenever we have a vowel in an unstressed syllable. In other words, the schwa is a reduced vowel. Okay, it is shorter, it has there's less emphasis on it because it is not stressed. When we describe this sound, we can say that it is mid-central, it is relaxed and unrounded or neutral. And also, it is the most common vowel sound in the American English. To produce this sound, we have the mouth position is neutral, the lips are relaxed, not rounded, the jaw is roughly halfway open, so not much opening is needed, and the tongue is flat, not forward nor back. Okay, so let's do some exercises then to help clarify what we just talked about. Which of the following words has at least one consonant cluster in it? We have pay, stray, mate, and may. Stray has a consonant cluster. Here we have the consonants s, t, stray. Next, which of the following words has a consonant cluster of 3 phonemes in it? Sclerosis, cape, dwell, or 3? The answer is sclerosis. Here we have sclerosis. And if you're paying attention, we also have one of our we also have a diphthong here in this word. Okay, what is the location of the consonant cluster in the following words? First, we have the word texts. Is the consonant cluster at the beginning of the word, in the middle of the word, or at the end? At the end, texts. Here we have k, st, s. So we have the cluster of 4 consonants in this word. Next is twin. Is the consonant cluster at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end? It's at the beginning. Twin. Remember, this as Spanish speaking people, this may be a little bit confusing when we first encounter this, because of we may think, oh, twin, it's you. Well, remember that w is a semi-vowel. It is not a vowel, but a consonant. Okay, so here we have a cluster of 2 consonants, twin. Our last word here, abstract. Is the consonant cluster in the beginning, the middle, or the end? We have 2 consonant clusters in this example. Abstract. First, at the beginning, abs, we have b, st. Abstract. Sorry, we have b, s, abstract. Then in the end, tract. We also have the k and t sounds. So we have more than one cluster. We can have more than one cluster in one word, especially, the longer the word gets, the higher the probabilities that we're going to find one. Okay. Ooh, I'm showing you the answer here, but let's still do with the exercise. Here, I wanted you to spot the diphthong. And the first word is crowd. Crowd. It is a monosyllabic word, meaning that the diphthong is in the only syllable we have here, crowd. Light is the same case. The only vowel we have here is a diphthong. And lastly, employ. At the end of the word employ, we have one of our three major diphthongs, oi. All right, I'm hoping that these exercises were useful to you. Thank you.